Welcome to your Hocus Pocus cookie kit Winifred tutorial. So for this tutorial you will obviously need your Winifred cookie, the orange icing, tan icing, black icing, white icing, and red icing. And you'll also need your Winifred hair template that was included in your box. And also you will need your toothpick, and some paper towels are always really handy to have laying around. So go ahead and gather that stuff up and we will get started. Okay, now that you've gathered your stuff, first we're going to take our hair template and set it right on top of your cookie. If it doesn't fit perfectly, that's okay. We just want the shape of her face. So that's the most important part. So now that you've got that on your cookie where you want it, you take your tan icing and carefully outline around your hair template so that her face shape will be perfect and you won't have to guess or anything like that. So once you have it completely outlined just like that, you're going to carefully remove your hair template and go ahead and fill in that whole section with your tan icing. Now, as you can see, I'm putting way more pressure on the bag now that I'm just filling, because you really don't have to be delicate about it because you're going to clean it up. So take your toothpick and with circular motions you're going to pop any air bubbles and smooth out your icing. You kind of want to move your icing all the way to the very edge of your outline so there's no gaps or anything like that between the outline and your icing. So there is her face. Now that you have her face nice and filled in, you're going to want to let that top layer of icing get nice and dry. So set this cookie aside for about 5 minutes before you start on her hair, because you want to get that definition between the face and the hair. And if you don't wait, they'll just kind of smush together and there'll be no separation. So you want to let that cookie set for about 5 minutes until you can just barely touch the top of that icing and it's not wet. Now don't push down on it because you'll have a giant fingerprint in your cookie. But just barely, very gently tap the top layer, and if it sticks to your finger, it's not ready. If it's dry, you can go ahead and move on to her hair. So come back to us when you're ready. Okay, now that her face is crusted, you're going to take your orange icing and carefully outline the outside of her hair, all the way around. If you need to stop and clean off the tip of your icing bag, if you have any clogs or anything like that, feel free to do that, of course. Okay, now that you have the outside outline, go ahead and outline around her face so that you don't have a bunch of overfill on her face. Okay, so there you go. Now you're going to put a bit more pressure on your bag and fill in all of her hair completely. You don't want any naked cookie spots or anything like that, so make sure you're giving this cookie a healthy amount of icing. Don't be afraid to put more on there than you think you might need. If it starts to overfill, then just clean it up and you'll know for next time. You do want a healthy layer of royal icing on there so you're not fighting it trying to get it nice and smooth later, because it's really hard if you don't have enough icing on there. Okay, now that you've got that filled in, take your toothpick and with circular motions, you're going to want to smooth your icing out, making sure there's no spots or gaps or anything like that, and pop any air bubbles that might be there. And give it a little shake to smooth it out so it's nice and level. And then we can move on to her face. Okay, so you're going to take your black icing and make some little swoops for her eyes. It's kind of like a sideways S is the easiest way I can think of to explain it. If you want to practice, just get a piece of paper or a paper towel and make a little swoop so you're not really fully committing. Because after you put it on there, there's no taking it off. Add our little jelly bean nose with your tan icing just like that. Then you're going to take your red and make a little heart for her lips. Just like so. Okay, now that her hair is nice and dry on the very top, you're going to take your orange and outline around her face once more. And then go ahead and outline around the whole thing on the edge. We're giving her some definition in her hairdo. Okay, now that you've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to just give her a part and kind of just give her some squiggles and give her some strands of hair. You know, her little iconic do that she has. You can get creative with it. And there is Winifred. She looks awesome.